There are times in the challenge that players feel so strongly about something, whether it be a move or a player, and they are willing to risk everything to make sure what they want happens. Now, it can be risky to put your whole game on the line. When it works out, the victory can be oh so sweet. But if it backfires, well, the pain and embarrassment of losing can be tough to deal with. I have picked a handful of moments from the challenge of players either standing their ground, making a move, or trying to protect a player to where their plan ultimately backfired and their games ended. And let's start off with a very recent example that happened in The Challenge Season 40 Battle of the Eras, where we have Era 3's team representatives of Tony and Avery in power, and they had to make a decision on who to send in against Darrell and Jody, Era 1's representatives, who were going directly into the elimination. It was between the two options of Era 2's representatives of Derek and Aviv, or Era 4's representatives of Casey and Kyland. The decision for Avery was so clear. She wouldn't even think twice about sending one of her best friends inside and outside the game, Derek, into the elimination. But the decision wasn't as clear-cut for Tony. He was all about making deals. Whoever can give him the best deal would get his vote. Because in the episode prior, Tony was voted in by his own team into the elimination, the first elimination of the season. So Tony needed alliances and numbers quick. Back at the house, Josh made a deal with Tony. If you have Era Force back this time around, we'll have your back next time around. Then Tony made a deal with Darrell, where Darrell's like, hey, give me Derek.
Darrell, I actually said, hey, if you had a choice, who you want? So if I have a choice, I want Derek. I get you Derek, you got it, but you got to get me back. You got to look out for me. You owe me one. Give me that, repay me that favor down the road. He's like, man, you know I got you, T-Tom. I'm like, all right, boom, done.
Possibly having two deals, one with Era 4 and one with Era 1, Tony felt like this is the pathway to go for me. So his option was voting in Era 2, which Avery was vehemently against. And lo and behold, getting to the arena, when TJ asked for names, Tony and Avery could not give a name.
Tough decision. We couldn't make one. So we're at a stalemate.
Their indecision became a decision for TJ to call them down into the elimination. Tony's plan of never backing down ultimately backfires on him more so than Avery because Tony lost this elimination and Avery won. I think at the end of the day, we can all agree that when you are 100% safe, it isn't smart risking your own game and losing a chance of $1 million for a disagreement. You'd think Tony would know the ramifications of doing something like this after watching something similar happen right before your own eyes in Season 32 Final Reckoning, when in one Armageddon, the house vote was split between Ashley Hunter and Tony and Bananas. Zach and Amanda were in power, where their personal ties to these teams put them between a rock and a hard place, and neither person was willing to budge.
We're gonna go with Ashley and Hunter, Tej.
No, we're not doing that. My vote is for Tony and Banana, so now what?
Looking back at this, I think it's easy to say that Amanda was clearly right here. She had way more friends in the game. If they would have kept all of her Lavender ladies intact, Zach and Amanda could have made a deep run into this game, either by winning more daily challenges or insulating themselves within Amanda's alliance numbers. Zach's whole reasoning of wanting to save Tony is because he had no other friends in the game, and Amanda could live with losing one or two friends. We all know the rest of the story. Their disagreement led to them being sent into the elimination that episode. They not only lost, but were medically disqualified because Zach injured his face during that elimination. A season that Zach and Amanda had the highest chances of making the final and possibly winning life-changing money just evaporated in an instant. Now, speaking of Amanda, I have to talk about what happened in Season 37, where TJ blindsided everyone, saying that there was 2 more eliminations right before the final, and they were gonna do an impromptu vote. The 2 people voted in by the house was Amanda and Emanuel. Amanda was able to call out anybody that she wanted to go up against in the elimination, and she called out Tori. Now, it's no secret that Amanda and Tori have never and will never be friends.
I didn't like you before, I don't like you now, and I won't like you after this. That's keeping it 100% real.
Given their history, it was an easy decision for Amanda to try to take on her rival. Unfortunately for Amanda, the two women faced off in a physical elimination called Drone Drop Ball. Tori literally manhandled Amanda in this elimination, winning and eliminating Amanda right before the finals. Amanda's plan of trying to win against Tori completely backfired, and I feel like she would have had a much better chance if she would have picked someone like Nany, who is close to Amanda's size and weight class, especially compared to someone like Tori. Now, something that is worth mentioning is that there is a rumor that filming went longer than expected, and Amanda had to leave for her job and some personal matters back at home. So upon being voted into the elimination, Amanda just chose Tori, knowing that she was going to leave no matter what. If that rumor is true, I think that is important context for this situation. But there is no excuse for the second elimination of this episode, where Emanuel decided to pick Devin in his elimination matchup. Now, I'm sure that Emanuel picked Devin thinking that if we're going to do a physical elimination, I feel much more comfortable going up against him than, say, Nelson. But again, this whole video is about plans that backfire. And instead of a physical elimination, Emanuel faced off against Devin in 3 puzzles, where, no surprise here, Devin won. Emanuel's plan of calling out Devin backfired, and he was eliminated right before the final. But Devin knows a thing or two about plans backfiring, because in the season before, season 36, Double Agents, Devin found himself on the crater standing next to Josh, when TJ announces that there would be a double elimination. CT was ready to throw himself in against the goof, but before doing so, he looked at Devin and said, "Name any man you want to go up against, and I'll send him down." And Devin called out Darrell. In the launch special for Double Agents, there is a scene between Devin and Lolo Jones, where Devin tells Lolo, "Give me a name and I'll give you insight on that player." Lolo says, "What's the deal with Darrell?"
Massive physical competitor.
That's true, you don't want to mess with him in the final.
Not so good at puzzles.
So following his own knowledge, chose Darrell thinking that he can't do puzzles. And even though Darrell has a tough time saying the name of these puzzles correctly, he can do them in record time.
I'm not stupid, I'm good at Tangerine Puzzles. So all you gotta do is take a tangerine.
Devin's choice backfired and got him sent home. From one Dave to another. Nothing screams backfire to me than season 35 Total Madness, where Tori wanted to get her red skull as soon as possible. And upon hearing that Jenna was having relationship troubles back at home, Tori was like a shark in chummy water. She looked at Jenna as an easy red skull, someone who is checked out. Tori got the whole house to vote her into the elimination under the assumption that Jenna was gonna send herself into the next elimination. I mean, this was lining up for Tori. Why would Jenna try? I mean, she's crying about Zach, like she's contemplating going home, right? Why should she try? But instead of an easy, guaranteed red skull, Tori found out not to underestimate anybody, whether you thought they were checked out or not. Because not only did Jenna try, but she won. Thinking that Jenna was checked out was her time to pounce. But that plan completely backfired and took her out of the game. In Dirty 30, Jenna found herself in power in the first daily challenge / purge challenge, where Jenna had to send multiple people to the redemption house. Her final choice came down between Latoya and Jemmye. Jenna decided that she was going to save Jemmye, keep her in the game, and send Latoya to the redemption house. Upon hearing the decision, Jemmye agreed with TJ in the notion that she indeed owes Jenna.
You owe her. I know that. You owe her. I know.
Let's jump a little bit ahead into episode 4, where we're at the Presidio. Jemmye pulls the double cross, turns around to face all the women who are possibly up for elimination. Who does she want to choose to send in?
Jenna. Jenna.
That's right, Jenna saving Jemmye at the first challenge completely backfired on her, as Jemmye was the sole vote to send Jenna in against her best friend Kayla in the elimination. In that episode, Jenna had both egg and mud on her face. Now, Jenna would get the last laugh because Jenna would eventually win herself back into the main game. She would pull the double cross and then send Camilla in against Jemmye in a late elimination where Jemmye would lose, go to the redemption house, and never recover. Somebody else in Dirty 30 that had a plan backfire was Jordan, who pulled the double cross multiple times, sent in Hunter into an elimination, which then backfired him late in the game, where Hunter would send Jordan directly to the redemption house. Now, just like Jenna, Jordan got the last laugh overall because he would go on to win that season. But speaking of Jordan, there's a season where he did not win, and he put into motion a plan that would backfire in his face. And of course, I'm talking about season 25, Free Agents, where Jordan and Bananas was having a very heated rivalry. One night there was an argument between the two that ended with Jordan saying that he would love to face off against Johnny one-on-one in an elimination, and claimed that not only would Jordan win against Bananas,
but I will mop the floor with your ass. I will end you, dude.
Well, in episode 7, Jordan got his opportunity. Bananas was voted into the elimination by the house, Jordan was going into the draw, and mentioned to a couple of people that wouldn't it be cool if I could just flip all the kill cards and ensure that me and Bananas would go head to head. He said it so much that people were expecting him to do it, and by George, did he do it. This is a moment that lives on in challenge history. It showed that Jordan was a man of his word. It took bravery, it took guts, and it was exciting. But at the same time, this plan backfired on Jordan because he did not mop the floor with Bananas. Instead, he lost against Bananas in the Wrecking Wall elimination. And although he wouldn't win this elimination or this season, it did set up Jordan to where production was like, we need this kid back as soon as possible and on multiple seasons. And eventually it worked out for Jordan that he would win multiple seasons afterwards. And the final plan to backfire that I picked for this video, we go to season 34, where both Laurel and Johnny decide that they are willing to throw a daily challenge to ensure that their US team loses, in hopes that either the US team or the UK team votes in Cara Maria into the elimination, and hopefully she goes home. They believe that if Cara made an early exit to the season, that the numbers and momentum would swing to Johnny and Laurel's side. However, the plan backfired because Laurel found herself voted into the elimination instead of Cara. Now, Laurel going into the elimination isn't necessarily where the plan backfires, because up to that point, she had an impeccable elimination record. And she's also going up against Ninja, who is in her second season. Granted, it was a climbing challenge, and Ninja was like foaming at the mouth at the sight of trees. Laurel almost made it out of this moment unscathed as she climbed up that tree, putting all of her branches into it, ringing the bell, and TJ even blowing the horn. After an obnoxious victory dance, it would later be revealed by Ninja that both women missed a similar hole on each of their trees. Ninja put her last branch into the correct hole, climbed up her tree, and rang her bell. Now, this is a tough situation because TJ prematurely blew his horn instead of getting a thorough check by production. The rumor is that production and TJ agreed to let Ninja and Laurel redo the competition. But Laurel didn't want to have anything to do with it because she believed that she should be given the win. She did it. She got up that tree the quickest. TJ even blew the horn. She refused to redo the elimination and was sent home. But really, what should have happened is that the US team probably shouldn't have thrown the daily challenge, putting Laurel in that situation in the first place, because if Bananas and Laurel tries, they most likely win that daily challenge. Laurel stays out of the elimination and lives to fight another day. Instead, Laurel and Bananas throws the daily challenge. Their plan backfires to where Laurel goes home 1 week, and right afterwards, Bananas goes the next week. But that is it for this video. What do you think about this list? Let me know down in the comment section below. Which of these plans backfiring is your favorite? I know the moments that I mentioned in this video aren't all the plans to have ever backfired on the challenge. If there's a moment that you remembered watching this video but I didn't mention it in this video, let me know it down in the comment section below. I want to give a special shout out thank you to everyone who supports me over at patreon.com/angelcakevids. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you to everyone who's watching this video up to this point. I'll be back really soon with more challenge content, more challenge 40 content, more content in general. But until then, peace.